45 How to configure the Apache web server on an Ubuntu or Debian VPS, posted August 7, 2013. 1 views Apache Ubuntu Debian. What is Apache? Apache is the most popular web server on the internet. It is used to serve more than half of all active websites. Although there are many viable web servers that will serve your content, it is helpful to understand how Apache works because of its ubiquity. In this article, we will examine some general configuration files and options that can be controlled within them. This article will follow the Ubuntu Debian layout of Apache files, which is different from how other distributions build the configuration hierarchy. How to install Apache on Ubuntu and Debian. If you do not already have Apache installed, you can do so now by issuing the following commands: sudo apt-get update, sudo apt-get install Apache 2. This is all that is necessary to have a working web server. If you visit your VPS's IP address in a web browser, you will get the default Apache index page. Your domain name or IP address, it works. This is the default web page for this server. The web server software is running but no content has been added yet. The Apache file hierarchy in Ubuntu and Debian. On Ubuntu and Debian, Apache keeps its main configuration files within the etc Apache 2 folder. cd etc Apache 2, lsf Apache 2 conf. Envers magic mods enabled, sites available, conf dhttpd conf mods available, ports conf sites enabled. There are a number of plain text files and some subdirectories in this directory. These are some of the more useful locations to be familiar with. Apache 2 conf. This is the main configuration file for the server. Almost all configuration can be done from within this file, although it is recommended to use separate, designated files for simplicity. This file will configure defaults and be the central point of access for the server to read configuration details. Ports conf. This file is used to specify the ports that virtual hosts should listen on. Be sure to check that this file is correct if you are configuring SSL confd. This directory is used for controlling specific aspects of the Apache configuration. For example, it is often used to define SSL configuration and default security choices. Sites available. This directory contains all of the virtual host files that define different websites. These will establish which content gets served for which requests. These are available configurations, not active configuration. Sites enable. This directory establishes which virtual host definitions are actually being used. Usually, this directory consists of symbolic links to files defined in the site's available directory. Mods enable, available, These directories are similar in function to the site's directories, but they define modules that can be optionally loaded instead. As you can see, Apache configuration does not take place in a single monolithic file, but instead happens through a modular design where new files can be added and modified as needed. Looking at the Apache 2 conf file, the main configuration details for your Apache server are held in the etc Apache 2/Apache 2 conf file. This file is divided into three main sections: configuration for the global Apache server process, configuration for the default server, and configuration of virtual hosts. In Ubuntu and Debian, the majority of the file is for global definitions, and the configuration of the default server and virtual hosts is handled at the end by using the include directive. The include directive allows Apache to read other configuration files into the current file at the location that the statement appears. The result is that Apache dynamically generates an overarching configuration file on startup.